an elevation. You're trying to contact the higher, and you're trying to move to the higher, to an elevation that's higher. So you're looking for contact with a higher intelligence, a higher plane, and you're looking for actually a transitional, in some way, a transitional movement into the higher plane. Same as you would get if you're meditating. In fact, it is a meditation in itself. So, the very first thing we need to do is to discover, before you can make that chord, that how many strings there are on this guitar. There's 6. And the first string and the last string, the first string is the low one. Well, actually, the first one's the high one here, and the 6th one is the low one here. And that's the same note, see, but apart, octavely apart, as it were. Okay? So it's do, E. Then there's another string and another string and another string and another string and another string. So there's 6 strings in all. You don't have to know at this time what those strings are, what they're called, or anything about it at all. It's not important. What is important is that you know how to count the strings. So we count the strings from the high string here. That's on the bottom of the guitar as you're holding it, unless you're left-handed, in which case it's the top of the, and so on. Then here's a low string here. So this low string here, we're going to use that. We have tuners, right? So if you don't happen to have a tuner, I have shown you how to tune your guitar by hand. I have that on gorebag.com, so I'm not going to duplicate that right this second. It's a lot of tuning issues. It's about 20 minutes worth of stuff. What I'm going to show you is the E chord. It's a very simple chord. You're only going to use 3 fingers to make this chord. And you're going to use 3 fingers in a rather relatively comfortable way. In some of the chords, it's not so comfortable. I'll warn you ahead of time. But in this one, it is very comfortable. And what I want you to do is to put your guitar on your, if you're right-handed, put your guitar on your left knee, on your left, actually, thigh, and back quite a ways against your tummy, and then lift your hand up a little bit so you have a little bit of room up there. And with your left hand, you're going to put your forefinger on the 3rd string. Now I'm counting from down below, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3rd string. And you'll notice that there's some metal things, little metal bars on the neck of your guitar. It's called a neck. See, there's a body, a neck, and a head, right? It's kind of like a Modigliani. So this is the first fret, is that F-R-E-T, first fret. That's where you're going to put your forefinger on the 3rd string, 1st fret. Then you're going to put your middle finger on the, not the next string up, but 2 strings up. That'll be the 5th string on the 2nd fret, which is another fret this direction. And then right below it, you're going to put your ring finger, your left ring finger, on the 2nd fret also. So you have 1st fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, okay? And you have a string 3, then string 5, then string 4. So it makes a triangle, which is ideal. You want a triangle. That's a great figure. And that's going to sound, if you press on these strings, should sound like that, which happens to be the chord E. Not the chord of E, the chord E. And the chord E is composed, in this case, composed of 3 notes. Now, this particular E is one of many E's you can make on a guitar. You can make E on the guitar in a number of different ways, hundreds of ways, actually, you can make some kind of an E chord. So there are very, very very amazing combinations of things that create E-ness. But this particular E is an open inside E, and it's an E natural, E straight E. What do you call it? Just an E, right?
E major.
E major. So that's an E major, and it's an open chord in the sense that you are not barring it, and you haven't done anything to it to raise it with a capo. So it's open, and it's inside. You're not actually handling the E strings with anything. You're not doing anything with those, not pressing down on those. So you're inside these. You're hitting inside notes here. So it's a 3-finger inside open E chord. That's what that is. Now, what do you need to know beyond that? At this point, actually nothing. Just need to know that one thing. But I'll show you what the exercise is, and this is what you should perform. Here's how the exercise goes. Make an E chord. Now we've established you know what the E chord is. You can review this anytime you like. So here it is. Ready? Make the E chord. Watch carefully to make sure that the E chord is properly made. Strum the E chord and listen to the result. 3 times. Strum 3 times. Make sure you know what that chord sounds like. Listen to it again. Do it 3 more times. Make the E chord again. That's after you've taken your hand away. Put your hand back on the guitar, your left hand. Make the E chord again. Strum once, twice, 3 times. Okay? You know what it sounds like. Okay? If it sounds like, you know there's something wrong. So it should sound like that. Now, here's the routine. Take your left hand away from the neck of the guitar. Without looking at the guitar, make the E chord and strum to determine that you have done this correctly. Then still the strings, dampen the strings with your hand to stop them from vibrating when you feel that you've done it all right. Take your hand away and raise it in the air. Raise it in the air. Don't be lazy ass. Raise it in the air. Put it back without looking. Put it back on the guitar, on the neck. Make the E chord and strum 3 times. Make sure it's nice and clear sounding as you do that strum. Make sure that all the notes are clear. If they're not clear, you're not making the E chord. You're making something else. If it sounds like this, that's not right. It should sound like this. But you don't have to get that right away. It will come. But listen for the clarity. Just listen. Learn to listen with your ears for the clarity. Listen with your ears for the clarity. La, na, na, like that. Okay? Now, here is how the routine goes. Raise your hand. Bring your hand to the neck. Make the E chord. 2, 3. Raise your hand. Bring it back down to the neck without looking. Make the E chord 3 times. Still the strings. Dampen the strings with your right hand. Raise your left hand in the air. Open your fingers. Don't be lazy. Open your fingers. See? Like that, nice and wide. Open your fingers. Put your hand back on the neck without looking. Look straight ahead. Don't look at the neck. Hold on to your chord. 3 strikes. 1, 2, 3. Dampen. Raise the hand. Put the hand back on the neck without looking. 1, 2, 3. Raise the hand. Make the chord. 1, 2, 3. Raise the hand. Make the chord. 1, 2, 3. Raise the hand. Make the chord. raise the hand, make the chord, like that. And do that over and over again until you can do it without fail. And that would be 5 minutes a day, every single day. Just do that for 5 minutes for about a week. And I'd say 7 days. So at that 7th day, you get to change exercises. And we'll talk about exercise number 2 after you've mastered exercise number. Now, if you have to go further, let's say it takes you 3, 4, 5 weeks before you can make this work. That's okay. It's exercise number 1, not exercise week 1, so don't panic. You don't have a time limit. There's nothing posted on the wall that says you're late. So just take your time and work with it and master one. Before you go on to the next thing, master the first thing. Really, please, master the first thing. Make the E chord, take your hand away. Make the E chord, take your hand away. Make the E chord, take your hand away. Don't look while you're doing it. At first, you might have to. That's okay. But then train yourself, make yourself look away from it so you don't look into to see what your hand is doing. It's very important you don't do that. Okay? That's a beginning practice. That is a sadhana. It's a practice. And it's a solid practice. Make the E chord, take the hand away. Make the E chord, take the hand away. Make the E chord, take the hand away. It's similar to something that Claude developed for you, and it actually is very, very strongly related to it. It's called Zen Basics. I'll be right back.